Hey guys, Matt, IronTrap Garage, and today we're going to work on 38 Convertible again, trying to keep moving on this car, waiting on some parts right now and some time to do the brakes and different stuff. So I figured I'd tackle a quick little project. Now that we got the cool taillights on and that all let it in, and we got the stainless exhaust on, one thing that's been bothering me is the really crappy bumpers. Just from this car sitting where it's sat and how it's sat, the chrome is just like falling off the bumpers. They're bent, they're tweaked, twisted. This bumper is twisted up on this side, so it's been throwing my, making me like OCD twitch because it's all looks crooked and weird. So I didn't want to just throw on stock bumpers because it's a custom. So one of the popular bumpers you would see on the old customs was using, there was a few different ones that were popular, but one of them is a 41 Ford bumper. It's just a little bit better looking of a bumper. I've been gathering them for a someday custom, and I have 3 of them here. Our buddy Pete gave me one that's got a little tweak in it. They're good for a driver like this is going to be in the beginning. So I wanted to work on getting these mounted up today. We're going to modify the original irons, get them sitting on the car and looking a little better, and then eventually I can hopefully find some better ones or have these re-chromed or other ones re-chromed. But getting these on, at least we'll have it so that when we get better bumpers, they're just a bolt-on affair. So we're going to work on getting these bumpers mounted, take the rear one off first. We'll start there, and we'll push the car back and do the front. So let's get started.
Oh, they're tight.
They're not real. I don't think they're super tight. It's probably got some pressure on it because the bumper's tweaked. So once we take these 2 out, it'll...
It did pop on them.
Oh, okay. There we go. Cool. Hey, that worked out nice.
You want these in or out?
We'll take this one off first, and then we'll... That way it doesn't just fall on the ground.
I'll hold this side in case it wants to.
Feel the pressure on them.
Yeah. Definitely tweaked a little bit.
All right, so shortened up the bolt for the mounting bolt here. I'm just using some test ones for now. I'm gonna have to get matching ones, but these are sacrificial. So I ended up shortening them up, the back side of them. But you can see I got this nice and close here, which is what I'm going for. So I want it to wrap right around that fender there and just have a nice kind of tight gap in there. I can get my hand between there. It's a little tight for this bolt in the back. Not quite sure what I'm going to do there yet. I have it shortened. It's just about touching the body, which worries me. So I may need to do something else or shave the nut down a little bit. Not quite sure. Or the other thing I'm thinking about is this side I haven't closed up yet. So you can see this side, the difference. Fit like my arm in there. Much bigger gap. So this side I think was bent a little. Well, not, I don't think it was bent differently. So this one has a much bigger gap. So what I did on this side was I punched the holes. So because this is spring steel, you can't just drill it. So I used the plasma cutter. Back in the day, they would have used oxy torch and blew 2 new holes that were 1 inch further back on the bracket, which allowed me to push the whole bumper closer. And then I heat and bent everything to get the angles back where they were supposed to be, because one of our holes ended up basically right on the 145-degree bend. So I bent that, and then ended up bending this bracket just a little bit more to get the body, the bumper, closer. So that's how we're getting that nice tight fit there where it wraps around the edge. So real happy with that. And then when I move this one in, the issue I'm having with the nut being really close in there might open up a little bit, not sure. But we can address the hardware. I can work around that. That's not as big of a deal as getting it to look right. So I'm going to take this bracket off. Right now we're just ignoring the inner brackets, because those are just going to have to be heated and bent to match, or added onto to match the holes that are in this 41 bumper. So I'm going to take this bracket off. Same thing, move the holes an inch in. These bends are going to have to be messed with. I could see that this bend is kind of wonky compared to what the other one was. The other one was a nice 45, and this one I could see a little whoop in it. So I'm going to heat and bend this after I get it moved back an inch and get it to sit basically the same distance away from the fender as that side, and then we'll have a nice bumper that fits pretty well. But already I like the simplicity of this bumper a little bit more. So yeah, that's where we're at. Take that apart, do some more cutting, grinding, welding, heating, bending, everything else.
Oh yeah, okay, perfect.
Let's sit there and cool.
Perfect.
Looks pretty close.
Yeah, maybe a little too far out, but there you go. Yep, pretty much spot on there.
All right, now that we got this side bent kind of how we like, or it's darn close, sitting in against there like I talked about, I like it a lot. So what we were doing on this one, just to kind of give you a quick run through of the process. So there is obviously the straight here where the bolts to the frame, the chassis. There's a 45 to get it out and over and through the body there. And kind of go in the right direction. But when we moved our bolt holes back an inch, which pushes the bumper in, we ended up landing basically right on where the bend is. So we heated it and crushed in the vise the 45 out, and then we reheated it an inch back roughly and put that 45 back in and got it clearing the frame and clearing the body. And you could see this isn't parallel anymore. And we're also trying to get the bumper closer to the body. So by heating this bend in here and manipulating everything, we can get this to wrap around, put the bumper closer to the body, and get everything kind of sitting how we want. So we're going to be heating on this bend first to get the majority of it out, because it was, what, an inch, you said, Steve, roughly?
It's probably about 2 to 3 inches more than the other side.
Wow.
We got a ways to go.
So, but the other side is roughly an inch from the body, is what we're shooting for. So this one's like 3 inches from the body or more. So this has to move quite a bit. And it was that way from the beginning, and we compounded the issue by pushing the other side in about an inch or more. So we're going to heat and bend here, push this in, get it closer to the body, get both sides kind of like leveled and or even with the body. and then we can work on those center brackets. But this is the big one that's got to move. It's been an issue since the beginning. We know we're in a ballpark, and then we'll test fit quick, put it back in. That's the only way you can do it. That's the only way we're going to be able to try and dial it in off the car.
Yeah. Yep.
Ready?
Yep.
That was more than 2. That's like 3 inches.
Yeah. You're right. There you go. Yep. You got it, Troy. That was just about 2 inches.
It's extremely hot piece. Let's see if I can not burn myself again.
Yep. Yeah, I just grabbed it too close. My glove was just smoking.
That's why you need to wear gloves.
Exactly. I get forgetful about shit like that.
I can smell that.
Yeah.
Good that wasn't your skin.
Me too. That's real close.
I had it just a little thicker than a nut, and that's definitely a little more than that size.
Yeah,
so.
that's right at 1 inch.
So the other thing we may need to do eventually is we may have to heat there to bring this, depending on the bend,
Yeah.
or what happens with the work. All right, so we opened some holes up and got the stuff moved around a little bit that it seems decent, at least sitting on the lift like this, but we really need to see it on the ground as it's going to sit. So we're going to let the lift down. Of course, this car sits too low, so we have to use the jack to pull the lift arms out. It's a problem.
That's down.
Okay, that was pumping stuff. All right, so we'll see if we can kick the arms out because it does sit down. Yep, we're good there. All right, so Steve and I messed around getting the bumpers, as level and straight and everything as we could, and stuff as symmetrical as we possibly could at the current moment. So the bumper brackets, that one was the one that's been bent or damaged from the beginning. It has a slightly different bend to it than this side just because of, I don't know, it's just not the same. But I'm planning on putting a gravel pan over all that, so you're not going to see it anyway. So what we need to do is take these other brackets that basically they bolt into a rear cross member that's hidden behind the pan here, and this rear panel, and whoops, got to swap it. Try and use both one hand here. All right, there we go. So this piece sits up in there, butts up against that one. And then the problem we're gonna have is it doesn't line up with the bolt holes there. So I'm gonna put some heat right about where the other bend is, right in here, and bend it out to get it close to lining up. And then we'll heat it again at this last little leg here and try and bend it back. If I have to, I'm planning on adding maybe a little material here, but I think that's the easiest way to do it. Then we'll have to blow another hole in this thing so that it matches up and bolts through in our other bracket that we modified. But the bumper's sitting how we want, so these brackets are basically just additional bracing. So if we have everything locked down, we're gonna kind of leave it alone as far as where it's sitting, but we just gotta get these to be modified so that they line up with these existing bolt holes in this nice chrome bumper. All right, so we got the rear bumper mounted, fairly happy with it. We were adjusting the exhaust tips, and what I ended up doing in the end is this inner bracket, we ended up actually lengthening it. So I put a little strap in here, which you can't fully see. I have it fusion welded together. I beveled it real good and cranked the amperage up. It's pretty good. So for now, until we pull this all apart I'm hoping to do in another video a gravel pan here. So fill this all in with a nice pan that will cover all that and make it all smooth. So I'm not going to get too crazy because next time I pull the whole bumper off, I'll finish weld all that and we'll blast it and paint it and do all that good stuff. But looking pretty cool. Psyched on it. So we got this nice rear bumper on. It's got a good gap right here. It's real nice in there. Just get your fingers width in between there, and it's got a good arc to it. I like the back of it. So pretty happy with how that all came out, and I of course shined it up with some steel wool. This bumper was re-chromed. It's kind of a shame because the one we have for the front's not quite as nice, but this rear one's dang nice. So we're gonna push the car back and start working on the front. Hopefully, fingers crossed, it goes a little easier because we kind of have a game plan now. We will see. Ooh, that front bumper is ugly.
It's unfortunate it doesn't just bolt right up. The outer ones might.
I definitely have them somewhere. I just don't know what.
Yeah, just a matter of finding them.
See the wave in this bumper? It's a lot better than it was, that's for damn sure.
Yeah.
Wow, they lined up.
Yeah, the outer bolts line up. The inners don't.
Holy crap.
The outers do.
Once in a while, something's
Look at that shit.
easier than you expected.
Uh-huh.
Holy moly. That looks way cooler. I can't believe they actually lined up.
Yeah.
Watching this video. We got to do the inners.
Yeah.
But we have a game plan this time.
Mm-hmm.
I think this time we slot the mounting bolts like we did in the rear later on. So we'll
Yeah.
slot them, that'll slide it in and get it
yep.
closer to the body.
Yep.
These line up so we don't got to worry about that unless we need to tweak them to get them to fit better. But
Yeah.
then this one looks like it has a lot more meat.
I think, yeah, this has way more bend in it. I think you could probably get that out of it.
Yeah, if you take it out here,
Yep.
we could get it over and then just bend it there, and we might get what we need. That'd be nice if we did the hardest one first.
Yeah.
It's usually the other way around.
Mhm.
We just had to heat and bend and make everything work, and that was the bumper that was twisted. And,
Heat and bend and heat and bend and then heat and bend and heat and bend.
slot and cut and add. So we got it.
There was a lot. Yeah.
right, so pull the car outside to take a look at the bumpers. We're getting into the nice time of year here where we can pull the cars out after you do all these modifications and stand back and stare at it. And usually Steve and I sit on the step over there and just ponder and look at the car and talk about it. And very happy with how these bumpers changed the look of the car. Not only did better bumpers make the car just look less crappy, it also, tucking them in, made the car look a little more squat and tighter, and everything just looks way better with the bumpers tucked. And the rear bumper fold, fits around the rear fenders really nicely. The front bumper, I mean, everything just looks so much better putting these bumpers on. The shape of them, the condition, everything. So really psyched on that. That's why I always gather all these parts, because when you're putting a car together, you kind of like this bumper, this part, whatever. And you could pick the perfect parts for the project you're working on. So, like I mentioned, these bumpers are decent. They're plenty good enough for what the condition the car's in now to drive it this summer and just keep working on it. Someday, when we get this car painted, we'll look for better bumpers in the meantime, or maybe I have to send them away, at least the front one away, and get it re-chromed. But for now, it's definitely good enough for the car. I can just keep working on making other things better on the car. Kind of been thinking about, and I think we're going to do something with the skirts that I just threw on there. Maybe kind of put some shape in them, to more of a bubble skirt type look. Maybe extend the fender in the bottom, and just keep customizing the car as we're driving it. So very much the idea with this car is like you would see in the old photos of Barris cars and different customs. You would see where the guy was driving the car and there was primer spots on where they did different modifications, because you just kept driving the car because it was your transportation. So we're using the same idea with this. We're going to customize it and keep working on it and driving it. And as we make different ideas, we'll do changes, put it in primer in those little spots, and just keep cruising around. Most importantly, have fun in the car. So another big step on it. Probably going to be doing some not fun work of brake lines, wiring, finish hooking up all the cooling system stuff and all that. I have a kit to shave the trunk lid here and an electric popper for the trunk lid. I need to get a catch for the deck lid itself or on the body. So a couple little things we got to gather, then we'll do some more upgrades on the car. But moving along pretty goodly, and definitely I could see us driving this thing this spring. And now it's starting to really come together with the overall shape and look of the car. So thank you guys for following along. Let me know what you think of the 41 bumpers on 38 convertible. Thanks guys. Catch you later.